Good morning. I'm Stephen Romo in for Joe and Savannah today. And we start this Thursday morning with the strongest July hurricane on record. Hurricane Beryl has killed several people across the Caribbean, and the prime minister in Grenada calling the aftermath there Armageddon-like. It was a Category 4 storm when it made landfall on the small island, wreaking havoc with powerful winds, flooding, storm surge. Even though Beryl didn't hit Jamaica head-on, parts of the island still suffered there. Catastrophic winds and heavy rains yesterday. Hundreds of people had to hunker down in shelters. And take a look at Flat Bridge. Before Beryl, one of the oldest bridges on the island that connects Kingston to its capital and to the northern coast, it was just completely underwater afterwards. The storm's path to the U.S. is still uncertain, but parts of southern Texas bracing for potential impacts over the weekend. Meanwhile, as Americans try to celebrate the nation's birthday today, 120 million people are under heat alerts across the South, Gulf Coast, and the West. Our team has the latest. Meteorologist Angie Lassman standing by with the forecast. But we start with NBC News correspondent Sam Brock, who is on the ground in Jamaica, where he and his team rode out that storm.
Hurricane Beryl spent more than 80 hours as a major hurricane, either Category 4 or Category 5, as it went on this multi-day rampage through the Caribbean. We're on Jamaica this morning. This is Victoria Pier. You can probably hear that rattling in the background. This is downtown Kingston. Look at this. That is the top of the roof here that is peeled off of this building. Now, obviously, we didn't experience hurricane force winds in Kingston. They kind of dodged a bullet in that respect, as Beryl was just a little bit too far south to bring those 80, 90, 100-mile-an-hour winds. But here it was still strong enough to do some damage. We are not aware at this point of any injuries, although the Prime Minister of Jamaica said across the country you're looking at about 1,000 people that ended up in shelters. And that was a process throughout the day because many folks just did not want to go. The mayor of Kingston posting on social media his efforts to convince people to get on buses to go from low-lying areas up to other parts of the country. Now, as far as if you move west, that's where it appears like there may be significant damage. Parishes like St. Elizabeth, Hanover's in the northwest corner of Jamaica. As this system swept through, it really lashed the western side of the country. So we're now waiting in the light of day to find out what the extent of the damage might be. Reuters is reporting that the death toll now stands at least 10. It was 7 last night. So there's a couple more deaths right now, it appears, from St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and potentially one in Jamaica. That is not something NBC News has confirmed independently yet, but there's almost no doubt that with communication systems down, compromised over the course of the last 24 to 36 hours, we will be learning new information. So it remains a very realistic possibility that the number of fatalities will go up. But as far as just big picture right now, folks, at least in this part of Jamaica, breathing a bit of a sigh of relief, as this could have been absolutely treacherous should this system have trekked a little bit farther to the north. But here, at least, it did not. Sam Brock, NBC News.
Sam, thanks. Fascinating this is happening so early in the season. Let's bring in meteorologist Angie Lassman for more on where Beryl may be headed. Good morning, Angie.
Good morning. We got still a couple more days to deal with this system, Stephen. And notice we have seen some general weakening, but not enough, really. We're still dealing with some impacts to folks in the Cayman Islands today, but we've seen largely some major improvements for Jamaica. You heard all of what Sam just gave as far as the details of what they've been enduring over the past 24 hours. And it's only going to start to improve even more as the day goes on. But it's the Cayman Islands that we're closely watching today, and then parts of Mexico in the days ahead. Right now, still a Category 3. We're talking 120-mile-per-hour winds. We've got that northwest movement just a touch slower from this most recent update, now moving at 20 miles per hour forward speed. But notice the alerts that are still up. We still, of course, have the hurricane warnings in effect for the Cayman Islands, but we also have a hurricane warning in effect across parts of the Yucatan Peninsula, along with those tropical storm watches, warnings, and a hurricane watch as well. That's the next area that we're going to watch for potential landfall of this system. Of course, no landfall in Jamaica, but still they were dealing with those impacts of some impressive storm surge. That has now receded, and it looks like the Cayman Islands are going to be watching for some strong winds, the potential for likely some minimal storm surge and some additional rainfall up to 4 inches over in the next couple of hours. We'll start to see that happening here pretty quickly, and then things will start to improve as Beryl continues to pull away. Now, notice the timing for when it makes landfall in the Yucatan Peninsula. This area, pretty typical to see Category 1, Category 2 hurricanes making landfall, so they'll likely be prepared for it. But we know what a touristy region that is of Mexico, so we'll be watching this. As it moves across that peninsula, though, we're likely going to see, of course, some weakening. This always happens when we have land interaction. We don't have the fuel to keep the system quite as together as it since has been. But then it enters the Gulf of Mexico as we get into the weekend. And notice we do see a little bit of intensification, likely talking maybe a strong tropical storm, a weak Category 1 hurricane by the time we get into late weekend, early next week. And that's when we'll be watching closely for folks in Mexico and Texas, right along that border, to see potential impacts and likely the last landfall of Beryl, Stephen.
I know a lot of people in Texas nervous about that one right now. Angie, thanks. Well, it's not just the tropics. The dangerous heat baking parts of the U.S. is fueling wildfires out west. According to the National Interagency Fire Center, right now, there are 55 active fires burning across 9 different states, and only 2 of those have been contained. NBC News correspondent Liz Croyds has more from California, where hundreds of people were forced to evacuate their homes.
A massive wildfire in Northern California burning out of control amid triple-digit temperatures. The Thompson fire spreading across more than 3,500 acres with zero containment. As tens of thousands scramble to safety ahead of the July 4th holiday, forced to evacuate with the fire bearing down on residential neighborhoods outside the city of Oroville.
I'm a little bit worried that, we might not have a place to go back to.
Several homes and structures destroyed as firefighters work round the clock to battle the fast-moving blaze. Flames burning on either side of the Oroville Dam spillway.
Crews are using Lake Oroville here to try to fight this fire. You can see multiple helicopters right now are coming to the lake, picking up water to attack this fire from the air.
The Inferno, one of several burning across the west with intense heat and heavy winds creating conditions ripe for fire.
What's the biggest challenge right now?
I would say the biggest challenge is obviously the conditions, the high temperatures, those low humidities, and without a doubt the wind is going to be the biggest concern.
In Phoenix, where temperatures hit 113, the heat wave turning deadly. A 10-year-old boy died after being airlifted from a trail where authorities say he was hiking with family. So far this year, 13 people have died from heat-related incidents in Maricopa County, with another 162 still under investigation. Back in California, the relentless conditions just getting started, with no relief expected through the holiday weekend, leaving the region on edge.
And our thanks to Liz Croyds for that report, especially important reminders as we have fireworks and grills today celebrating the 4th. And if you are thinking about hitting the road or taking to the skies for some last-minute holiday plans, you are not alone. That's why we wanted to bring in a friend of the show, Katie Nastro. She's a travel expert at going.com. Katie, happy 4th. Thank you so much for being here. AAA projecting that this is going to be the busiest 4th of July holiday period ever. Why are so many people hitting the road this year?
Yeah, look, despite how other areas of the economy are doing, travel is really strong and healthy. People are not looking to skimp out on experience spending. According to our Going State of Travel, over 56% of people said they're looking to spend more this year compared to last year. So this is really, again, an area where people are looking to put their dollars.
Yeah, absolutely. I know a lot of people are traveling. So many of them are hitting the road instead of the sky. So for those people, procrastinators going last minute, what can drivers expect when they actually get on the road today?
Yeah, look, AAA is predicting that more people are going to hit the road this year than years past. So those of us who are hitting the road can expect some traffic, especially around those optimum times when people are looking to get out there. But those of us who are filling up will find that gas prices are actually down a little bit from years past. So that's some good news for those of us who are hitting road trips this year.
Yeah, certainly love the sound of that. And speaking of the skies, TSA projecting that about 2.7 million people passed through their checkpoints just yesterday. And all of those people, of course, are going to have to get home, or most of them. Maybe some are escaping forever. But for the ones that do have to get home, what tips can they have to avoid spending their post-holiday crunch waiting around at airports?
Yeah, Stephen, look, we are expecting this weekend we might see the single busiest day in travel on record. Upwards of 3 million people looking to come back in a single day we have the potential to see. And so if you are traveling, just remember a couple things. You want to monitor your flight for any changes in case they happen. You want to also have an alternate plan of a flight in mind in case something does happen and you need to make those changes. It's much easier to deal with a gate agent or a customer service agent if you already have something in mind, as well as if you can try not to check a bag. You're not only going to be avoiding another long line to wait in when you check that bag in, but you're also going to be avoiding those pesky bag fees that have gone up in recent months.
And Katie, with the 4th falling in the middle of the week, when do we expect it to be the busiest for those people trying to return, both in the skies and on the road?
Yeah, look, Sunday is likely to be that target day. And, just a couple of weeks ago, we saw the single busiest day on record. June 23rd actually surpassed that previous record from Memorial Day. And so that was a nondescript Sunday in June. And so now looking forward to the holiday, we're expecting to see similar reactions to all those people coming back. And so if you can avoid this coming Sunday, you're likely to see less people in the airport, less people on the road.
Yeah, just go ahead and take that Monday, too. Why not? Make it a little easier for yourself. All right, Katie and Astro, thanks so much. Great advice there.
Thanks so much.
And speaking of the holiday, let's bring back meteorologist Angie Lassman for a check of that 4th of July forecast. Hopefully we'll be able to see those fireworks clearly, Angie.
Stephen, do I get Monday off too?
Yes, go ahead.
All right, I'll email our bosses right now. Here's the deal. We've got a lot going on weather-wise. Right. This always happens on a holiday weekend, a holiday week, and that's exactly how things are shaping up over the next couple of days. It's not just a one-day kind of thing that we're dealing with. For example, this really oppressive heat. We've got a good chunk of the country that's going to see incredible temperatures and high humidity in some spots. So 130 million people, no surprise, under these heat alerts. It's mainly parts of the West and parts of the Southeast down to the Gulf Coast. Those are the two areas that we're going to be watching closely for the extended period. So let's start with kind of what's going on. We've got high heat and high humidity. All that tropical moisture from the south is being ushered in, so we've got plenty of moisture to tap into in the air, and that means that while we have really high actual temperatures in places like Dallas and San Antonio over 100, our feels-like temperatures are even higher than that. Look at Memphis today. Later this afternoon, it will feel like 113 degrees in Memphis, 109 in Baton Rouge. Out west, of course, it's not the humidity, but it's those actual temperatures. In some spots, we're running 10, 15, even close to 20 degrees above normal. And we likely could see some records threatened over a multitude of days, especially as we get into early next week. Places like Las Vegas could reach an all-time high temperature record. We'll wait and see how that exactly shapes up, but either way, it's going to be dangerous heat for folks out there, with Fresno expected to hit 110 tomorrow. Phoenix, if you have any plans tomorrow, 116 degrees during peak heating, and even up and down parts of the East Coast and down through the Southeast, we've got 90s for a lot of folks. Atlanta, 94, San Antonio expected to hit 100 degrees. And as I mentioned, it doesn't just wrap up with a couple of days. We've got this sticking with us at least through the weekend into early next week. Birmingham expected to hit 95 on Sunday. We've got Savannah well into the mid-90s. We've got Nashville peaking at 94 on Monday as we get back to work. So a lot of time finding a cool spot, maybe a little shade, a little extra water, making sure that you're watching for the kiddos, and not leaving anyone in those hot cars over for an extended period of time. That is going to be a big concern this holiday weekend with lots going on. Speaking of the holiday, what about the forecast otherwise, besides the temperatures? Well, unfortunately, we've got some thunderstorms that have a potential to erupt here as we get through the day today, specifically across the Midwest, but we've got some of that happening across the Northeast, too, especially into the afternoon hours. And those are the main spots that we're going to be watching for unsettled conditions. I know it's hot out west, but you guys are dealing with really nice sky conditions. We've got plenty of sunshine in Las Vegas. We've got nice sky conditions in Phoenix, Los Angeles, even down through parts of the Southeast. A couple of spots like Houston, you'll see plenty of sunshine, but we do have some of these showers that we'll have to track specifically across parts of Florida, like Miami. You could see some of those afternoon thunderstorms. The fireworks forecast, though, looks pretty good if you're really west of the Rockies. That's where we'll see lots of clear skies. Temperatures will be on the warm side, as I mentioned, but plenty of dry time for those fireworks to go off without a hitch. Now, you'll notice Washington, D.C., New York, we do have rain in the forecast. This is going to be kind of a game time decision in some of these spots where we're watching these showers working through, maybe a few thunderstorms, and we're going to have to see exactly how the timing plays out. The ingredients are all there, Stephen. Unfortunately, if you're going to be watching Macy's 4th of July fireworks on NBC, temperatures in the 80s, but again, there's that chance for thunderstorms, so fingers crossed.
All right, crossing those fingers now. Angie, thanks so much.
Right.
Well, to politics now. President Biden saying he's not backing down in the election race despite mounting pressure to quit the campaign following that shaky debate performance last week. The president met with Democratic governors at the White House yesterday in an attempt to reassure them that he was still the right person for the job. NBC News senior White House correspondent Gabe Gutierrez joins us now from Washington with more. So, Gabe, walk us through what actually came out of that meeting with the governors.
Hey there, Stephen. Good morning. Well, some of those Democratic governors have actually been floated as possible replacements if President Biden were to step out of the race. But we're told that none of them asked him to step aside. Democrats instead are trying to show a united front.
We were honest about the feedback that we were getting. We were honest about the concerns that we were hearing from people. And we were also honest about the fact that as the president continued to tell us and show us that he was all in, that we said that we would stand with him.
I'm here to tell you today, President Joe Biden is in it to win it. And all of us said we pledged our support to him because the stakes could not be higher. We feel very confident in his abilities.
And the Biden campaign feels that the governors that are out there right now are, part of the way that the campaign is really trying to show that united Democratic front. They're also trying to get the president out there more on the campaign trail. He travels to Battleground, Wisconsin tomorrow.
Again, we're getting some mixed messages from Democrats overall and the White House. Publicly, it seems like the president vowing to fight on, but NBC News understands that privately he's telling people he's feeling a bit torn about all this. What are we learning there?
Yeah, that's right, Stephen. Publicly, President Biden is not backing down, but he's telling his staff, let me say this as clearly as I possibly can, as simply and straightforward as I can. I am running. But NBC News has learned, as you mentioned, that privately the president is torn. In some discussions, he's acknowledged that the debate aftermath may grow too large to overcome, while in others, he's been completely dismissive of the idea of dropping out of the campaign. That's according to 4 people familiar with the matter. The president weighing his instinct and the advice of his family to stay in against calls to step out. He can see that there is potentially no real path, a source told NBC, but he's being pushed. Again, publicly, Stephen, the White House is staying the course, though.
Certainly something we'll stay tuned on. Also, keeping a watch on the polling since the debate. We know that there was this latest New York Times Siena College poll showing the president trailing former President Trump. What do they make of the polling? How much pressure is this adding?
Yeah, that's right, Stephen. New York Times Siena College poll done after the debate shows that President Biden actually now trails former President Trump by 6 points among likely voters, though that is still within the margin of error. There's also another Wall Street Journal poll that was out yesterday showing the president trailing former President Trump. But look, the Biden campaign really is trying to make the point that its internal polling shows an extremely tight race. And yesterday, the campaign sent an email to staffers telling them to brace for these polls over the next coming days, but to keep at it, and essentially that the president is still staying in at this point. We'll be watching, though, and congressional Democrats will be watching over the next couple days as the president heads not only to Wisconsin, but also to Battleground, Pennsylvania as well. And tomorrow he is sitting down for his first lengthy TV interview since the debate. Stephen?
Wow. Did not expect this is where we would be in July of 2024. Gabe Gutierrez, thanks so much.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or follow us on social media.